There's nothing worse than wasted talent, right? I know your pops, your mom, someone in your family, someone that you know, someone that's influenced you in your life has said that at one point of your life or another. Well, it's true. I mean, to a certain extent, it's true. It may be not for the person that you're talking to or about, but for the people that see it surrounding, say, oh, this kid had so much this, so much that, and it's a shame that they were never able to do whatever it is that is expected of them. That's lesson number 1, episode number 1 in the saga of why James Rodríguez is viewed as such a wasted player. To see him on the bench at Real Madrid, on the bench at Bayern Munich, on the bench at Everton, just wither away, and went from being this player with superhuman talent, or at least it seemed that way, or at least he made it look that way at times when he has been able to shine. He went from that to just becoming a bit of a caricature of a player that he's going to get injured. You're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're always waiting for something or some injury to appear. And, well, that was the end of that. We knew it was coming. I mean, us as people, as fans, as journalists, I mean, for the most part, we want people to be successful. And we're very angry, upset at people that disappoint our expectations. I mean, we want people to be successful because we like following success. We like to see someone make it and give us inspiration. When that person doesn't do that, then we become angry because they didn't fulfill our expectations. Now that's the big question. What are our expectations of him? But what are his expectations of himself? One thing he can say, ladies and gentlemen, is that he's won. Another thing he can say is, I made it. Very few players can say that they've won or they've been a part of a Champions League winning side. Now, how much minutes he played, that's a different story, but he can actually say that he was part of a Champions League winning teams. You can also say that he's won many league titles, many league cups, many super cups, has been able to raise his national team to a new profile. He said he can do that. He was the leading goal scorer of a World Cup. He was one of the best players in a World Cup. He has made one of the best assists probably in World Cup history. Go back and look at that match against Poland and see the pass that he sent to Cuadrado to be able to get the victory over Poland. He made it. Now, one thing's making it and one thing's staying. James is a great example of, hey, he had what it takes to make it. There's no doubt about it. And he made it by the time he was 21, 22, 20, if you want to make that argument. But that's the problem. He made it, and that's it. Okay, I got there. I've been there. Which is, I mean, obviously, it's maybe a bit unfair to kind of put in the same category, but to say that to a certain extent Ronaldinho was like that. Hey, I made it. I'm tired. I'm done. I want to enjoy my life. There's nothing wrong with that, mind you. People think that by you pointing this out, it makes it wrong. It's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I made it. I'm done. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're okay with that. Doesn't really matter if fans are upset. It's not their life, it's yours. You're the one that's doing the running. You're the one that's doing God knows how many things in order to stay. You're the one that made the sacrifices when you were no one. So if he's okay with that, there's nothing wrong with it. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't go and say what it is. Oh, you could have done more. Which is right. A guy with that much talent should have been at least once or twice in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or. Should have. And you know what? He could have. But that's, again, like I said, that's him. If that's what he wanted, he could have probably gotten it. He could have probably worked towards it. But you had a lot of other things that came in the way. Just, the injuries, the divorce. He was more enamored by the lights than by being able to show off under those said lights. He enjoyed the world of being a social media influencer, of having a Twitch channel, of doing things that maybe when he was younger he didn't have the ability to do because of his economic situation. He didn't grow up in the most affluent of families. So that's completely understandable that he feels that he has already set his life up for his children and possibly his grandchildren. After that, I don't know what I can, after that, I really can't respond. I really can't lift up my hand and say, you know what, absolutely. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that he has done part of it. The problem is that, again, we end up wanting maybe a little bit too much from our heroes. Maybe want a little bit too much from those people that we look up to. And they're not the ones that want to be looked up in that manner. They're the ones that say, hey, you can make it. The problem is, with James, you can't go and say, he stayed there. He can't be that example. As much as I love to see him play, as much as I want to see him be successful, a lot of it is on him. He's the one that didn't recover properly. And therefore, when you don't recover from an injury properly, then you're going to most likely get injured again. And if you don't recover then, it's going to get worse. And it progressively did. He was more out than in. And it was noticed by coaches. And the coaches saw that his commitment wasn't there to be the superstar. Because that's the billing he had. It wasn't that he was, hey, I'm going to come in and help out a little bit here. No. He was the guy coming in saying he was the superstar. He was the one that if Cristiano Ronaldo was not going to be around, that if Cristiano Ronaldo was injured, he was stepping up alongside Gareth Bale. He was supposed to be the guy that wearing that number 10 jersey, he was going to come in and absolutely demolish the world. He was going to be the guy that was going to just tear up the universe. Because he could. And with that left foot, just as prodigious as it is, because it still is, he could have done it. But he didn't. Instead, he got on the wrong side of Zinedine Zidane. He got on the wrong side of Rafa Benitez. He got on the wrong side of Niko Kovac. He got on the wrong side of Jupp Heynckes. Yes, Carlo Ancelotti enjoyed him and really got the best out of him in the past few years. He's been the only coach to do that. Not once, not twice, 3 times. But to a certain extent, he got tired too of it because of the injuries, because of the lack of care, because of other things that he was focused upon. Let's be honest. The Colombian media were constantly, and mind you, I saw it personally, I saw it firsthand several times in press conferences when they were hounding Zinedine Zidane, when they'd ask him about James and they criticized Zidane and they thought he was the most evil person in the world. No, he's a gentleman. He's not like me. He's not going to go and tell you things in public. Not that I do, but I'm not one that's gonna hide and say something else, in order to make you happy. He got on the wrong side of you, Heinkes. He got on the wrong side of Niko Kovac. Rafa Benitez doesn't want him around. As soon as Rafa Benitez came in, he knew he was done. So that was it. He knew it was it. It was over. It was not to be. And life moves on. He's at Al-Rayyan now. What will he be? Yeah, of course. The amount of work that he's going to have to put in is not as much as in Europe, where he has to be in tip-top shape every week. He can take some time off. He can take a week off. He can get a little bit more care. The intensity is not what one would think it is. Although with Al-Rayyan, of course, check out the game between Al-Rayyan and Al-Sadd earlier today. You'll get a better idea what I'm talking about. He's going to have a lot of lifting to do as well. I'm not going to say that it's going to be a vacation, but it's not going to be, the type of lifting that he was being asked to do, and he couldn't, or at least he couldn't do for an extended period of time. That's what makes this situation so interesting now. How is he going to be performing? And trust me, for him to get a call up to the national team, he's going to have to perform a little bit more, or quite a lot more, I should say, than the average player in that league. He has to absolutely be demolishing the Qatari league in order to get a call up for the Colombian national team. I don't think he's going to stay 3 years, although if you look at it from a financial standpoint, and many think that because players like James do something, that their contracts have an impact on me. I wish they did. If it did, trust me, if James moving to Qatar would have an impact on me, trust me, I would be singing his praises right now, because he's earning $13 million, like, what is it, 11.1 million euros per season, which is, I think, it's around twice as much as he was earning in the Premier League. So you're telling me that no. Again, that's how this whole thing is emerging. Do I hope he does well? Yeah, I hope he does well. I hope he finds happiness. I hope he finds himself. I hope he ends up saying, you know what? Thank you very much for this year. I've had a great opportunity to reanalyze myself. Coming back, gonna kick ass. Will it happen? I don't know. I surely don't know. Because he's not Falcao. And I use Falcao, of course, because if I were Falcao, I probably would have quit 10 times already. I would have quit 10 times over. But where you have to give that guy credit is he continued pushing. He continued wanting it. He continued working out and doing his, and going through his paces and doing everything he possibly could do to be in the best shape possible for whatever team he was on. So there's not one person that's going to say that anything bad about him as a teammate. Now, as a rival, it's not a guy you want to have, because he's as dirty as they come. Or at one point, he was as dirty as they come. But I want a player like that. I want to follow an example like that. When he had almost a career-ending knee injury, he came back. Yeah, he had his injuries. Yeah, like anyone else. It's not the road to recovery is never linear. It's never linear. It's never straight. And he is the prime example of it. And he kept going. Trust me, many would have probably quit. And I think James would have quit too. He's comfortable. So at the end of the day, you think about it, and when you make decisions out of comfort, when there's very little consequence going towards the future, man, why not? But that's not the case. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe you need something to be taken away, and I made that a figurative sense. I mean that where your career could end up in the balance. And what I mean by in the balance is losing it and not being able to ever get it back. Because as of right now, everything that James has done, it's him knowing that he can always go to another team. If things don't work out at Al-Rayyan, where does he go next?